Hello and welcome to Simon Miller's Pro Wrestling Show. I mean, it's just a crazy day all around. Usually we're doing these on Wednesdays because that's when SmackDown used to be, but SmackDown is now on Friday. Friday hasn't even happened yet, and now on Thursdays, we get to sit here and talk about AEW Dynamite, a brand new wrestling show. Think about that, a brand new mainstream, American-based wrestling show. I don't know about you, but if you're old like me, it was a bit like watching WCW. And who doesn't like watching WCW? Well, not the last couple of years. Year and a half. It was like watching WCW if WCW, before WCW fell off a cliff and started booking Buff Bagwell. Well, no, let's not even talk about it. Let's not even talk. Either you know, and if you don't know, you don't need to find out. But thank you very much for joining me. As always, Simon316 on the Instagram, Simon316 on the Twitter. If you could subscribe to the channel, that would absolutely rock. Just down there, you know where it is. Big subscribe button. You can like the video. Of course, sponsored by pinsandknucklesmerch.com. They can sort you out with any merchandise needs. And if you go to pinsandknucklesmerch.com right now, you can get Simon Miller exclusive white t-shirt. It's up there. And like I say, I've said it a few times. Few people have come on board. Thank you so much. The reason I'm able to do this, what is it? It's 20 past 4 BST on a Thursday. The reason I'm able to do all this is because of my Patreon, patreon.com/Simon316. Again, if you are watching on YouTube, there's a link in the description. If you're living on audio, you know what it is by now because you still listen. If you could even throw $1 in the hat, it all helps. It all helps me try and grow this, blow this shindig up, as they say. And of course, if you're live on YouTube and you've got something you want to say about AEW or NXT or AEW versus NXT or Raw, SmackDown, whatever, got a super chat right there. You know how it works. Little $, smash it. I will read out and I will answer any question that you do ask. I mean, it was really weird for me this week, if I'm completely honest. Woke up on Wednesday, felt a bit lost because I'm so used to doing ups and downs of SmackDown. We did an ups and downs to the SmackDown Live era as like a nice little goodbye. And then today, waking up on a Thursday, it was like, okay, let's get into it. What is AEW Dynamite going to bring us? Like, I know that this whole AEW versus NXT is a very real thing. I mean, I saw so many tweets and I saw so many people, watching both shows at the same time, which I thought was crazy. But we kind of knew what to expect from NXT, right? We know what to expect. We've been watching that product for 4 or 5 years, or probably not that long, but however long it's been. And although they had this amazing lineup and they had this amazing card, we still knew it was coming from Full Sail. We know what that crowd does. We know how that crowd reacts. When I sat down to watch Dynamite, I was like, I have no idea. I assume it's going to look a bit like their pay-per-views because that's the only reference point I had. But ultimately, outside of that, how many matches are we going to have? Is there going to be promos? Is there going to be skits? Is there going to be videos? There's so many questions. There is so many questions, and it was fun and it was exciting. And I hate all this rhetoric at the moment about WWE, oh boo, and AEW, yeah boo. Just like whatever you like, man. It's fine. It's like watching soaps or it's like watching movies. You don't have to watch everything. You don't have to watch anything. Just pick and choose what you like and go from there. So, and ultimately, if we look back at them now, Dynamite was a great show and NXT was a great show. These people are saying, oh, I think AEW. Who cares? Who cares who had the upper hand? It means nothing to us. It's what we can do. It's up to you. You enjoy your life however you want to enjoy your life. But for me as a fan, I want everyone to do really well and I want everyone to make loads of money. That's what I want, and I want everyone to feel excellent. But in terms of what I did think as a wrestling fan who's been watching stuff like this for a while, 20 years or probably longer actually, I thought NXT was... I thought AEW was just I don't think it was the best show that I've ever seen. Of course not. I'm not gonna get all hyperbole on here, but I thought it was very easy to watch, and I thought it was very fun, and I thought the crowd made it even better than it would have been otherwise. And it wasn't a bad match, and I think they have great characters, and I just think that it's awesome that it exists to begin with. I really, really do like it. It was. Again, if it just flew by. 2 hours is the perfect length for a wrestling show. If only all wrestling shows could be 2 hours. And I thought they did a decent enough job of introducing these people to who they are in case you're a new casual viewer, while making sure they had that old school rustic feel that I'm sure a lot of people that do tune in are interested to see. Shout out to Undead FB Goo in the super chat, always supporting in the super chat, much appreciated. How proud did Cody look at the beginning? The boy Moxley was back looking amazing. I'm 100% with AEW. There still was some little slips, but overall fab. There you go. Undead FB Goo is on board the AEW train. I agree. I think that the Cody Rhodes thing kind of got lost on me at first until I thought about it. But yeah, he was in the ring doing a post-match promo with Tony Schiavone, the guy that used to sit next to his dad. That is something special. And really what Cody has achieved over, I know there's lots of people involved in this, but Cody is a large part of that. What Cody has been able to achieve over the last few years has been nothing short of ridiculous. Spectacular, you may even say. You remember when he wrote his list? When he wrote that list and he posted it on Twitter, nobody thought we were going to get to the end of 2019. He's going to be starting a wrestling promotion. And a wrestling promotion that, sure, as Undead says, certainly needs a bit of tweaking, needs a bit of finessing, but a bit of polish as we'll go. For example, one of my big criticisms I probably should have made more of out of ups and downs, you can check out now over on What Culture Wrestling, is, yeah, I would have liked more promos. I would have done. I think we could have had more promos, but it's one show. It's one show in. And like you said, the John Moxley thing was awesome. The surprise of Jake Hagar, who I keep calling Jack Hagar, it's going to take a while to get out of my head, I thought was great. You know, it had surprises. It all linked together. I felt there was some really good storytelling involved that we'll get to. If you didn't like it, that's fine. You don't have to like it. But I feel there's a few people that didn't like it just because they were never going to like it. And that's just ridiculous. Shout out to my man Josh Tiley in the Super Chat who says, if we're talking in terms of the war, NXT won for sure, in my opinion. Well, I mean, it's good, man. The point is that means you must have really enjoyed NXT. And that's the major thing with all of this, is that you had a good time. I've watched the majority of NXT now, and yeah, it's awesome. It's a great show. I think something that if someone said, you know, pick pros and cons, I wouldn't even go that far. But, you know, a pro for AEW is certainly having it in a 14,000 arena with everybody going crazy compared to Full Sail. The hell's what? 500, 600 people. But again, that's irrelevant to me. Crowd noise is important as a viewer, but it's not the be-all and end-all. Bushin Ryu Cat in the Super Chat says, Simon, great review of the AEW TV show. Thank you. Can you confirm if Jericho, Jack, LAX, and Sammy can be a stable? I'd call them 5 stars after Dave Meltzer. They're definitely a stable. And a few people going nuts at me on Twitter today. At Simon316, cheap plug. Oh, it's not a stable. It was just an angle to end the show. Just like go watch Tony Khan's post-event interview, or what they're saying, the pictures they're releasing. They're a stable. It's confirmed. Like, I'm always happy for any kind of interaction, but sometimes it's a bit like, read. Just go do a bit of research and you'll find out. But yeah, they are a stable. What the hell would you call them? That's a great question. I don't know. But I did like it. I thought it was a really awesome end. I do agree that maybe they could have planted a few more seeds in terms of giving you a reason to tune back in next week. But I do like this idea of a dominant, threatening group coming together on the first episode of the show. Is it 1,000 miles away from the NWO? No, that's not me saying it's as good as the NWO. It's going to be as impactful as the NWO. I'm just saying, got 5 dudes in a group, right? Jericho, Sammy Guevara, we'll call him LAX for now, and Jake Hager. That's 5 people. You know, name me another group right now that has 5 people in it. I know there's a few, the Samoan Dynasty for one, but It's rare. It's a rare thing, and back in the day, it was everywhere. And I think if AEW can treat that right, especially because one of them is their world champion, and I'd now give LAX the tag belts, and maybe you could is another belt coming down the line. I don't know. MJF could easily fit into that, maybe if he wants to turn on Cody at some point. I love it. I love stuff like that. It's a throwback. In fact, AEW at the moment almost completely feels like a throwback. But I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, if you want to argue it, in the late 90s, more people were watching wrestling, maybe not necessarily than ever, but they have done for a very long time. And if you can find a way to bring that atmosphere and bring that feeling back, but have better workers, better storylines, up-to-date products, then hell yeah, let's do it. Let's see where it goes. Shout out to my man BK11648, who says, any update on you wrestling in the United States? Well, maybe against Sami Callihan, right? That's what we're inkling for at the moment. All I'll say is keep an eye on What Culture Wrestling. Again, smash the subscribe button over there. And maybe a little reply from me is going out soon. Who knows? And when it does, the challenge is on. He invited me over there. I've accepted it, or you will see that I accept it. All we got to do is sort out some logistics. Outside of that now, I don't know. But yeah, my mantra for all of that, my wrestling bookings, is if I'm free and I can get there, I will say yes. And obviously, that's probably one of my biggest goals right now is to try and wrestle in the States. So absolutely. Silence is her weapon. Zero says, anyone else think the AEW women's title is too small? It did look kind of small. But I don't know whether that's because they knew that Riho was going to win, so they shrunk it. Maybe they have multiple versions depending on the person. I don't know. But I think all their titles are nice. Also, I know, sacrilege, kill me, burn me down. I don't really care what a title looks like. Like everybody, I mean, it's always better if they look nicer. My favorite is the Winged Eagle from 97, 98 period, 96. But ultimately, like, everybody had the Universal Championship. We get over. We accepted the name. We accepted the colour. And that's what we'll do with anything else. It's what they represent that means something to me. Just Tired. Amazing username. The Super Chat says, does the AEW Women's Division need more depth? Yes, I think so. But I think that will happen. I mean, we've got Britt Baker, Riho, Nyla Rose. We've got a couple of other Japanese women that I forget the name of because I'm an asshole. Awesome Kong is in there. B. Priestley, I believe, is signed up. So, no, I think there's enough, but yes, I mean, I would say that that's still a work in progress when it comes to AEW, but I think you could say that for a lot of their division. I do know that a lot of people crapped over that Riho Nyla Rose match last night because there were a few botches. Who cares? Who cares? Do you go to work every day and don't make a mistake? Of course you don't. Look at professional sports players. You know, if you watch a Premier League game, that's soccer over here from my American friends who aren't into sports. If you watch a Premier League game this weekend, you will see multiple professionals who are earning millions of pounds making mistakes. That's because they're human. Like, just because you're really good at something and you're being paid well for it doesn't mean you're going to be 100% smashing it all of the time. So I don't care. The fans loved it. They really bought in behind Riho, wanted her to win. AEW allowed that to happen. Nyla Rose got her heat back afterwards. No problem with that whatsoever. Again, easy to watch. Didn't insult me. Undead FBQ in the Super Chat says, Sammy Guevara is going to be a rising star in All Elite Wrestling. I tell you, one of my favorite under-the-radar things last night was Sammy Guevara has all that stuff with Cody at the start. Seems like he's made amends. Jericho comes out attack. Sammy Guevara doesn't do anything. And that's because later on he knows there's going to be an opportunity to get in that ring and beat up Cody Rhodes alongside, I guess, his new buddy, Chris Jericho. That's good storytelling for me. Not in your face. Was there for you to appreciate as and when made sense for you. You may not have even picked up on that. And I love stuff like that. And again, I think it's any kind of association with Chris Jericho. He is kind of like the Hulk Hogan in this scenario. Any kind of association with him and with Jake Swagger, whatever flip his name is, Jake Swagger, not his name, Jake Hager, to a lesser extent, because he's still seen as he's still a former WWE champion. I know that we're pimping him out as a Bellator guy, which he is. You should focus on what he's doing now. But I do think he has some kind of status. Yeah, my man Mark Dunlop just throwing some money in the Super Chat. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. It all goes back into this. Nick C in the Super Chat. Hey, Simon, do you think the size of the AEW women's belt was foreshadowing that Riho would win? Just a thought. Had a blast last night. The war is on. Yeah, we just talked about that. I mean, in hindsight, probably. She is tiny, Riho. So you don't want to have this massive belt that's going to fall down. I think we're only kind of just picking up on that now. So I don't think it's the end of the world, but yeah, I would probably say, Nick, that there is something to that. Because look at the difference between the two women, right? Nyla Rose is like the big guy, and Riho is the small guy. So you do have to work around that. It's going to look dumb if you give a belt to her that's bigger than she is. So that's probably just some smart thinking by AEW, but you're right. Maybe it was a bit of foreshadowing. Maybe a little bit too much. But again, I dug that match. And we've got a women's champion now. Onwards and upwards. Aaron, ready for the hashtag who threw a wiener into the ring clips. I mean, that was the most WCW thing ever. You know, I never, and I'm sure it's happened, but when I was a kid, I never saw garbage and stuff get thrown into the ring for WWE. But as Aaron, mentions there, WCW used to get garbage in the ring all the time. When Hulk Hogan went heel, it was littered. It was littered with garbage. And so to see someone throw a hot dog, which must have cost them at least $15, it ain't cheap when you go out to these things, to just waste their hot dog at Chris Jericho. As always, Chris Jericho knows what to do. You can see that promo now if you go out and check it. He makes it work for himself. So, fair play to him. All the credit in the world to Jericho for being that guy. But it was a bit weird. just throwing in wrestling fans are weird. There's no two ways about it. My man Tom Talks Rubbish in the Super Chat. Do you know how to cancel Fight? Now it's on ITV. I think you just go into your settings, man. I'm going to continue using it because I get it obviously as quick as possible. But yeah, I think you can just go in there and it says subscriptions. You just click cancel subscription and it will cancel it for you. My man Rob Bunt says, hey Simon, hope you're well. Keep being awesome. That's very nice, Rob. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I hope you're being awesome too. And thank you for watching. Thank you for taking time out of your day to watch me talk about wrestling for a little bit. So yeah, I like, again, I saw some people saying they weren't massively high on the Hangman Page versus Pac match. I thought it was a lot of fun. Love the fact that Pac's gone 2-0 up. Hangman Page can't buy a wing. I like that brutalizer finish. There was too much abusing of the referees. Again, maybe that's my own expectations coming back to kick my ass, but I bought into this idea of a sports presentation, and in both the MJF and the Pac match, they're using the referee to get wins. I don't mind it because they're heels, but I think you probably could have come up with a different way to do it. And yeah, going later in the in the evening, how the hell can Dean Ambrose / John Moxley come out of the crowd and beat up Kenny Omega in the middle of the match? It's not a DQ. So there are things that you can pick holes at should you so wish. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I think we just have to wait and see how it's all going to play out. But they were ridiculous things. But then again, it kind of gets away with it, as WWE does on occasion too, because, it's the brawl between Moxley and Omega was fantastic. I mean, he DDT'd him through a glass desk table. I mean, it was awesome. It was an awesome visual. It looked pretty crazy, all things considered. And what a feud that is. And almost the injury that John Moxley suffered has almost like spiked that up even more. So yeah, it's fantastic. It almost made me forget that what had happened because what I was watching was so good. And really, if apparently they didn't want to do a ref bump, right? But if you had done the ref bump, it would have tied in so much better, because then when the Young Bucks realized that they were a man down and it was 2 versus 3, that kind of gives them their out. And their out is simply, well, we're a man down. He's running off there having a fight. What the hell are we going to do? Oh, we lost to Jericho, Santana and Ortiz. So yeah, I thought all of it was it all flowed really nicely. Shout out to my man Palak Gupta in the super chat that says, hey Simon, the next ups and downs for AEW would be your 300th ups and downs episode. Time really flies. Thanks for making wrestling interesting. While I really appreciate Palak, I think you have to go redo your maths, because we celebrated episode 400 like about 3 months ago. So, I don't know what's happened there. However, I will say thank you very much. I do appreciate that. And I do my best. As long as you're enjoying it and you're entertained by it and you're watching, then hopefully I've done my job, and long may it continue. Stan, my man Stan in the super chat says, Pac feels like a major star. Make him the champ. But he's got to be having a match soon, right? He's on a winning streak. So surely once we're done with Cody versus Chris Jericho, we've got to move on to Pac versus whoever the world champion is. These are what the laws have dictated to me. And I'm intrigued to... Pac right now is on a roll. We'll find out. AJ Parker in the super chat says, watching Brandy hit Sammy with her shoe was shades of Miss Elizabeth Sherry Martel 80s wrestling for me. Nikki Crocs and I both loved it. Stay well. I think you're probably right. I think there's a lot of throwbacks in there. A lot of old school stuff. I mean, that's why you've got Tully Blanchard, not on this one, but that's why Arn Anderson's been on there. Tully Blanchard's been on there. We've seen DDP. I mean, Cody Rhodes basically brought up in that era. And I'm all right with that. There is a certain... way of approaching wrestling that we haven't seen in a while, and I want to see it back. I just want to see it done in the right way. Again, I don't want to see Buff Bagwell being told, all right, this is real too. Your story today, Buff, is that management wants to push you, but you found out that tonight you have to lose, so you're going to go into the ring and you're basically going to throw a tantrum and not work with the guy, and then Tony Schiavone on commentary is going to call you out for this. That's rubbish. But before that, when you're doing old school angles and beatdowns, hell yeah, bring them back. And I think that AEW has the great setup to do that. Talking of Tony Schiavone as well, I know he's done MLW and a few other things. I haven't necessarily heard him for that long. What a treat it was to have him back on TV. I love Tony Schiavone. There's something, I guess, comforting about his voice. And it takes me back to 20 years ago. I really enjoyed the commentary last night. G. Vanshu, I hope I got that right. G. Vanshu Dua. Sorry, Simon, but I'm taking sides now. We are NXT. Well, listen, my friend. You're allowed to do whatever you want. I'm not going to judge you. I respect your opinion. But I'm never going to take a side, because I think it's a bit ridiculous. I think that, not that you're ridiculous, just my opinion on the idea of that. I know that those two are going head to head. We've seen that with all the kind of things that happened last night. But I don't want to miss AEW or NXT just out of some kind of... I just want to be entertained as a wrestling fan, right? And I love WWE and I'll always love them. But I want to give AEW a chance as well, because I believe AEW will make WWE better, and I believe WWE will make AEW better. But if I hear that AEW's had a great show, I don't just want to not watch it because NXT had a great show, and vice versa. I want to watch NXT, I want to watch AEW, I want to watch Raw, I want to watch SmackDown. I want to get the end of wrestling week and be like, man, I can't wait for the next one, because this is an absolute blast. So, no, I'm not with you on that one, my friend, but you do you. Life After Death, just putting some money in the super chat. Thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate it. Silent is her weapon zero in super chat. Who is the winner of the Wednesday Night War? Obvious people are overlooking is the fact that it's the fans. Competition equals up your game for your eyes. Yeah. I agree. I don't think there was a winner. Because if I look through Dynamite, I love the Pac vs. Hangman Page match. I love the finish. I really love this starting of the group. I'm really excited about this group. I think it will be good. I thought Jericho was good throughout. I like Cody versus Sammy Guevara, even though it was a pretty much by the numbers match. And then over on NXT, which I do want to chat to about later. I mean, Adam Cole versus Matt Riddle was awesome. Then Finn Balor comes back to NXT, and then Ciampa's there. There's some really good stuff going on. Some really good stuff. So if I get to enjoy all of that as a fan, then, my fandom's only going to go and increase. Shout out to Jacob Donnelly in the super chat, who says, once it worked, not a perfect show, but I genuinely had fun watching it start to finish. That's something I haven't felt watching Raw or SmackDown recently. Well, I would say that I actually think Raw and SmackDown have been quite good recently. I've been enjoying them. I think WWE's on a bit of a roll. But yeah, I don't think... There's some people coming out saying it's the best television show they've ever seen. And look, if it was, awesome. But I never thought we were going to get or at least from my vantage point, I never thought that we were going to get the best wrestling show I've ever seen, because it's number one. And that's when you find out what works, what doesn't work, what you should finesse, what you should change, if you need to use somebody here rather than there, and vice versa. It's a work in progress. And I think we have to treat it like a work in progress, because if we don't, we're just being unfair to everybody involved in AEW. So, yeah, I just thought it was a really easy to watch 2 hours, and so was NXT. And hey, I'll say it, I thought Raw was an easy to watch 3 hours this week, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Again, it just means we've got here to Thursday afternoon, and I'm having a good time. Undead FB, just literally gone out the shot there. Undead FB Goo in the super chat says, when Moxley put Kenny through that table, I screamed, "Your elbow, John!" I love the fact we have variety. I look forward to the next few months. It's a good point, because he had the MRSA in his elbow. Well, that's good. At least it means he's 100% healed, right? So that's certainly an absolute plus. But that whole angle was great. I mean, John Moxley comes across like an absolute crazy person. I've actually missed him from AEW broadcast, or at least the last one. I do think he adds something massive to it. And I think there's just such an upside for him now. And when we are done with Kenny Omega, there's so many feuds that he could go into either way. I'd be up for John Moxley versus Chris Jericho, just for the championship, just because it's such a weird sight to see those two having a wrestling match, but it not being in WWE. I think that'd be fantastic. My man G Vanchu Do It is back and just says, whatever side I am on, we will win. I enjoy it all, in the super chat. Hell yeah, man. I think look, look. If you get a kick out of picking a side, pick a side. There ain't nothing wrong with that. I'm not going to hold it against you. But again, I just don't see it that way. I just don't. Not in 2019, when I can stream stuff and I can watch it at my heart's content. I can watch NXT whenever I want. Some people have been saying, oh, why can't I watch NXT yet? Well, it doesn't go live on Thursdays till like 5 p.m. US or 5 p.m. Eastern or Western or whatever. So, I mean, it's not even 5 p.m. here yet, so you've got to wait till this evening until it's going to go live. That's the problem. I don't think WWE has made that clear. So, if you don't catch it on Wednesdays, you've got to wait 24 hours. That's the point. You've got to wait 24 hours. So it must be 8 p.m. then. Anyway, it will go up later tonight. Jeremy Brock just threw some money in the super chat. Thank you so much, Jeremy. Palak is back, and he says, of the 438 total episodes, Jack the Jobber did 141. Astrophysicist in the house. Either way, you'll forever be the best. Okay, so it's my 300th episode of Ups and Downs. Wow. Well, firstly, thank you for for working that out. Well, that's crazy. That's crazy. If I've actually I've done that many, kind of terrifies me a little bit. Where does the time go? And here we are. I think that's the cool thing about this week. Again, big WWE fan, of course I am, but it is just kind of exciting and kind of interesting to have the alternative, or to be able to watch something through your critique eyes, but it be presented to you completely differently. It's just fun. We're wrestling fans at the end of the day. Even if you do prefer WWE or New Japan, whatever, before that you were a wrestling fan. You fell in love with wrestling, and now we're getting loads of wrestling. Rosie101 just threw some money in the super chat. Rosie, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Anthony Taggle, man, massive super chat. Thanks so much, dude. Have a pint on me, mate. Much love, brother. Well, much love to you. I don't want to, feel like I robbed you. I don't drink, so I won't have a pint. But I will have a pint, but it'll be water. But either way, I'll be thinking of you, my man, Anthony. That's very kind of you, dude. And thank you for watching, and thank you for supporting. Silent is her weapon zero says, John had a little too much of the bubbly. I think John always has a little bit too much of the bubbly. I just think he in general, he just comes across like a crazy person in the intended way. And I love that. I love his character. So yeah, it just felt so quick. I felt the MJF Brandon Cutler match could have gone a bit longer than it did, but whatever. Such is life. Like there's some rumor now that maybe Cutler got injured. Maybe he did. I hope not. That would suck. And again, I could have done with more promos, more skits. I really like the SCU skit where Scorpion Sky all of a sudden proved that he's like the best Barack Obama impressionist ever. And SCU never take themselves seriously in the best possible way. And, Lucha Brothers versus SCU, great way to introduce those two tag teams to a new audience. They'll have great matches, kind of old versus new going on. Had a big brawl at the top of the stage. That was like World Championship Wrestling. All good with me. My man Jacob Donnelly, thoughts on the production value? I thought it was AEW's best looking show. Couldn't agree more. I felt like, these pay-per-views that we've had, these big events, were almost just leading up to this to ensure when they're on free TV, see if I can squeeze in a bit, and more people were watching, that they would be able to come out with a product that looks really good. I thought it looked really, really good. I really, really, really did. And having it in that kind of arena with those kind of fans, the fans made that show what it was because they were just so loud and they were so desperate to get behind whatever the stories were. So they were cheering the good guys, booing the heels. Thought Sammy Guevara was an absolute asshole because he pulled Brandy Rhodes in front of him and used her as a shield. It just all worked so well, and it seemed like it all came together at the right time. And really, if you were going to do that, it had to be last night when hopefully the rumor is now that it may have smashed through 1 million. And I think if AEW does more than 1 million on day one, I mean, most of these things on a series premiere, the ratings will go down the following week. But again, you can only do week by week. And I really, really do think that if they do over 1 million, like 1.2 million, be pretty damn impressive, and a lot of people will be talking. Life After Death in the Super Chat. What would be a good name for the Jericho-led stable? The Bubblies, that would work. The Ayatollahs of Rock and Rollers, you can do that. You can call them The List. It's not bad, actually. I'd call them The List. Or you can call them Chris Jericho's Terrifying Tangle Boys. Don't know what that means. It's a great question, though. What do we call them? Because a cool name, it's not the be-all and end-all, but NWO was cool, DX was cool, Heart Foundation just worked, but it was still cool. I can't think of any big stables now. Los Boricuas, still cool. You knew what you're getting into straight away. I don't know what I'll call them, but again, they are 100% a team. They're a stable. That was the idea. That's the go-home angle. How are we going to control these 5 bad guys that have come together to try and wreak havoc, seemingly, on the good guys, on Cody, on Kenny, on the Bucks. And Dustin was there as well. And don't forget, when you work that out, Buck, Omega, Cody, Dustin, and then 5 guys. So we're probably getting a 5-on-5 at some point, but I don't think many of us will argue that. I mean, moving on to NXT as well. Again, the Finn Balor thing was the big talking point for me. Don't want to blow my own trumpet, but may have made a video on What Culture about that 3 or 4 weeks ago saying it could happen. Just saying, just throwing it out there. I think it must be amazing for him because I imagine they haven't cut his contract and now he only has to work an NXT schedule, which is going to be a lot less dates, so it's going to be kind on his body. But yeah, I think that's a huge addition to NXT. I think he's got a big following. I think he can revitalize his career there and be treated like the main event guy. I mean, he's challenging Adam Cole straight away. So I think that was genius. And yeah, I mean, following that Adam Cole Matt Riddle match, which was superb, you can't get mad at it, right? Well, I can't. I thought it was so well put together. I think if you chose to watch AEW over to NXT, you're not going to be mad, and vice versa. There was so much to enjoy. Shout out to my man AJ Parker who says, Simon, Dinosaur Down was brilliant. You're a genius. That's very kind. Yeah, you can check out the new ups and downs right now, AEW over on What Culture Wrestling, and we do indeed have a Dinosaur Down. Had to come up with something new. It was too serious. I was like, I need some kind of nonsense. And while I actually don't think that Luchasaurus should be featured on every one, I was like, well, let's just pretend that he should, and we'll come up with this ridiculous concept. So, yeah, you can check that out now. But yeah, 2 great shows. The winner of the fans, and that's a really cheesy thing to say. Let me make sure that nothing is... I don't think any ratings are broken or anything like that, but if we get some news up, then we will know. We're still waiting for that Hell in a Cell card. That is screwing my week right up. I need that to make a video, but, hey-ho. I will I will wait on and endeavor. I mean, the Ciampa thing is interesting. The Ciampa thing, because, I mean, obviously when he got injured, I think they said 12 months, right? And we're not at 12 months. We're like at 6 months. I'm not saying that he's rushing back or that this is an angle that's going to have to take a while to play out because he's actually not 100%. But Triple H was like, well, if you come back, you're going to create some buzz. But I hope that he is back. I hope that he is well. And I hope we're not rushing anything for the sake of promotional into warfare. I don't think there's a point in that. I don't think anybody gets anything out from that. But look, a great moment in NXT to see Ciampa get in Adam Cole's face. And now you do have the story. Well, who does he face now? Is he facing Finn Balor, who just came back, or is he facing Ciampa, who also just came back? I mean, it's not a bad roster on paper. Life After Death in the Super Chat. Could this feud open the door to have Marty even the odds for the Elite? Well, it's already... Is it already even? You've got Dustin, Cody, Kenny, Bucks. And then you've got Chris Jericho, Jake Swager, whatever the fuck his name is, Jake Hagar, LAX, and Sammy Guevara. So no, I don't think so. I think we have 5-on-5, unless Dustin's not going to be in it. I was pleased that Dustin got featured, though. It was nice. He got a great reaction. Everybody got a great reaction. If only all crowds were like that all the time, wrestling would never be that bad. But no, I don't think Marty is free until November. I guess you could do it then. Maybe it does tie into something like that, Not the worst shout in the world. Could be interesting. Jacob Donnelly in the Super Chat. The Fiend scared Finn Balor all the way back to NXT, lol. I was going to make a video about that. I don't think I'm doing it. But yeah, really, in storyline, the Fiend, Bray Wyatt, beat up Finn Balor so bad, he just went back to NXT. That's the story, not the story they're telling. But if you take a step back and look at it, you can argue that till the cows come home. So that was quite funny. I agree with you, Jacob. But it's definitely the best place for Finn Balor. He's so lost on the main roster right now. He comes out, he smiles. He doesn't really have anything going for him. 100% the right thing to do. Chicken Salad and Super Chat. How great is Jericho to be good at any role? I mean, he is pretty good. He just knows what he's doing. He believes in what he's doing. He doesn't hold back. Yeah, he's pretty much one of the best ever. I think it's fair to say. So, yeah, long may it continue. I still think it's the right move to put the belt on him. I think people will see it and go, wow, it's Chris Jericho from WWE. Maybe I should check this out. Who's the first person to take the belt on him? I don't know. It could be Cody. I don't think anybody would begrudge him of that. He's so over, it's ridiculous. You could give it to Pac. Maybe Jericho holds on to it for a year and we build Hangman Page back up. I don't know. There's lots of options. Dalton B in the Super Chat. Love the content. Thanks, man. How would you fantasy book the Lucha Brothers? Well, if they're going to be a solid tag team, they've got to start doing away with teams, then building up to clashing with the Young Bucks again. So, you beat SCU, you beat other Jack Evans and Angelico, you beat Super Best Friends. You build them up. You build them up, and then you let them take the titles. Then maybe you go into a match with Matt Jackson. I can't remember. I think the Lucha Boys are in the tag team title picture. I get confused. But I think if you're not going to put those belts on the Young Bucks, which I guess they won't because they probably want the company to bed in a bit before they do that, put them on the Lucha Brothers. Probably one of the best tag teams on the planet. They're going to have amazing matches, which, again, the casual fan is going to see and tune into because it's all flippy. You can't argue with that. Nicky Nacho, amazing name, the Super Chat. Do you think they are waiting for NXT ratings to add more of their matches to Hell in a Cell? That's why they are holding the card. No, they don't want to take any focus off SmackDown. And now SmackDown has moved to Fridays. It's quite difficult because at the end of the week, and you've got a pay-per-view on Sunday. But yeah, they just want everybody's focus right now to be on Friday. And then as soon as Friday's done, we can start talking about Hell in a Cell. And I do think that probably makes sense. Because how many people are actually going to buy the network to watch Hell in a Cell? Probably not that many. But SmackDown on Fox is massive. The Rock is going to be on it. Steve, again, so many people. It's going to be a Rams show, have proper consequences, and storylines are going to move forward. The Fox show will probably do the best ratings of the week as well, although 99% sure will. And that's going to make it feel massive too. So that's just WWE's priority. And it should be. They need that to be an absolute smash. They need to do 5 million. Never do 5 million. AJ Parker in Super Chat. Would Balor invite The Fiend to NXT for Retribution? I mean, you'd have to imagine no, because he got his ass whipped last time. I wouldn't start moving Bray Wyatt around. I don't see it as a demotion by any stretch of the imagination. And I think Finn is experienced enough to deal with it. Again, especially if he's on the same money and he's doing that travel. But his character really can't be dragged along as much as it already has been. It's been a difficult process for him. Whereas Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, as we know, is exciting. He's fresh. We don't know what he's going to do. He needs to be handled with kids' gloves and take him to the top. Whereas, that's it. That's my point. V. Branton says, Super Chat, has Jericho ever been in a faction before? Well, he's done a lot of tag teams. I remember tagging with the Big Show. No, I don't think he has, No, I don't think he has. What a great use of a legend. To have the legend leading a bunch of young dudes. I think that's awesome. I'm well up for that. So, I think it's a great use of him. Great use of him as your world champion. Protects his title. You can probably use a lot of them to do a lot of shenanigans. So, yeah, I'm all right. But no, I don't think he has. I've said this now and I'll be wrong. I mean, he's part of WCW, which at one point was technically a faction because they were feuding with the NWO, but obviously it doesn't count at all. So I don't know. Let's go back to my news wheel. I know my news wheel has moved there. People just want to know about the television ratings. It was an interesting thing that Jake Hager signed for. Apparently, he'd been signed for the company before All Out. So this has been a long time in the making. So fair play to everybody there for keeping it secret. Otherwise, that just seems to be it. Again, if you want to talk about trends, AEW was being searched. It was one of the most read interviews on, it was LA Times magazine, I assume on their website. Everybody was reading about that. Oh, there was something else too. What the hell was it? Oh, it's the PlayStation numbers. Oh, excuse me. Oh, from nowhere. The PlayStation numbers that Dave Meltzer had. And apparently he said, I mean, they're tiny. This is a tiny demographic. A tiny sample, but apparently they smashed it on PlayStation TV or whatever it's called. So that's fascinating too. Maybe AEW beats NXT, and not a lot of people were saying that. Life After Death in the Super Chat. Where does Pac fit into all of this? Well, right now, to me, if you look at it like MMA, he's the guy climbing to the top to take on the challenge. Who he fights after this, I don't know. But again, Omega, done. Who the hell did he take on last night? My brain has gone blank. Hangman Page, thanks brain. Hangman Page, done. He could move on to somebody like a Cody, a Young Bucks, a Kenny Omega. I don't know, somebody beat them too, and upwards Pat goes. Like it would be, and why the hell not? And he can get there and lose. Doesn't matter. That's fine when you're sort of stancing your company in the way that they are. Life After Death. Oh, sorry, we've just done that. This is where it's packed for into all of this. Yeah, I think a future champion and a future number one contender, but right now we don't know. Somebody asking me why my hood is up. It's National Hood Week, man. It's National Hood Week, so everybody's hood should be up. If your hood's not up, something's gone wrong. That's the thing, right? Is this gonna work? No, it's not. I'm trying to find out the hot news to make sure that we haven't missed it. No, it's just people. The shuffle with the commentary. I'm intrigued to see how I find the commentary tomorrow because, as of this moment, it's going to be interesting. So yeah, AEW versus NXT. I had a great time. I'm going to try and finish off NXT as soon as I can, but it's just fun, and I hope neither company takes it too seriously. Even though I think WWE already has. I'm happy for these two promotions to exist. One can move to Tuesday, really, but that's never going to happen. Jacob Donnelly said, I almost didn't recognize Jake Hager. What a transformation he's gone through since WWE. Of course, if you haven't been keeping up with his MMA journey, you may not know what he looks like now. And you're right, Jacob. He's come back looking utterly different. He seems to have his mind in a good place. He's on a winning streak in Bellator right now. I think he's won 2 fights, maybe 1. So he's got a lot going for him. And look, he's a recognizable face. He's not the biggest wrestler of all time. Well, he's quite big, but I mean, figuratively, he's not the biggest wrestler of all time. But he does have name value. He does have history. A lot of people do think he was misused in WWE. So getting to this point now where he can try again. And also, he will be great in that group. He's the body. He's the big guy. He's the guy that protects Jericho's title. Eventually, they can break up. It's just great. I think he's a great use. And so many people go, oh, it's just a mid-card guy. I think there's more to Jack Swagger than that. And I was a fan with him back in 2012. And there's audio proof out there to prove it. I created Jack Swagger's Train of Fun. Still exists on Facebook. We've changed it now to Jack Swagger's Trailblazer of Noise or something. I can't remember what it was. I like him. I like him a lot. James S. in the Super Chat says, AEW versus NXT 5-on-5. Who are the teams and who wins? Well, my AEW team would be Cody. This is obvious. Cody, Kenny, Young Bucks, Chris Jericho. Makes sense. And my NXT team would be Adam Cole, Finn Balor, Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, and Velveteen Dream. In terms of who wins, I don't know. I can't answer that question. It depends who would benefit from it more. And to do that, I need to know the scenarios we found ourselves in. Under FBQ says, Sean Spears tweeted John Moxley ready for Wednesday. Did he now? Well, let's look that up. Sean Spears, Twitter. Best way to do it. He's the chairman now. The chairman, Sean Spears. What did he tweet him? Yeah, looked good last night on AEW, John. Healed wild. Next week, though, you have to play by the rules. I'm a pro and not some loner hell-bent on some shift. You'll read this and perhaps comment without tagging. Most bitches do. So he's on the warpath. He is on the warpath. Excuse me. Matthew Bailey in the super chat. Why would a bunch of Latinos hang out with a Trump supporter? Well, that's if you look at it from reality, Matthew. I mean, in the world of kayfabe, I think they've all come together because they probably hate the Young Bucks and Cody, and they hate what they stand for, and they hate their run of the company. So now they've come together to rule AEW and prove that these executives don't have shit on them. That's what I think anyway. And I love it. I'm really excited for this group. I really, really am. Give them a good name. Let them run roughshod through AEW. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But yeah, you're right. It is a bit like some Latinos hanging out with a Trump supporter. Although, do we know for sure that Jack Swagger is a Trump supporter? I don't know if we know for sure. AJ Parker in the Super Chat says, would AEW called Jake Hager Jacked Jake? Also, I like the name of Quicksilver Simon Miller for you, lol. Well, thanks, man. No, I think they're just going to call him Jake Hager. That's good for him because it means he can promote his Bellator fights as his name. So if people Google him, they'll be pleased about that. But they could call him Jack Jake. He's in a much better shape than he was when he left WWE. I think he could be one of these people that comes out and we all go, you know what? WWE didn't do enough with him. And now he's proven himself in this other company. Same as Rusev, same as Cesaro, same as Rey Mysterio. To a lesser point, he's already a legend. You know, same with Kalisto, same with anyone at Lucha House Party. The list goes on and on. Shout out to my man Nicky Nacho, who says, season premiere week of your YouTube panel brings new set, aka hoodies. Hashtag I'm with Simon. Hashtag Simon on YouTube. Hashtag hoods up. By the way, congrats on the Rumble win. Thank you, Nicky. I appreciate that. Yeah, a little vlog went up yesterday as I was running around about my latest wrestling adventure, and we'll do another one soon because it's on David Starr. Just waiting for some video footage to come through, and I will show it. But thank you, Nicky. I appreciate it. Of course, your Ups and Downs is up now. We've done Raw, we've done AEW, and we'll do SmackDown in a couple of days. But if you want to see the first ever AEW one, television-wise, you can do that now. And on that note, I'm going to have to wrap this up earlier than I thought. Still a little bit under the weather, as you can hear, and my voice is on its last legs. So I think I need to call it a day, which I rarely do at 5 o'clock, but probably go and lay down. Before we do, though, we'll get the Super Chats done. Shelby Lynn in the Super Chat says, Raw commentary or AEW commentary team, JR equals timeless. Well, I think it's too hard to call which one is better, but I think Raw was great. Dio and Vic are both new, so we have to give them time, but I thought they had a great chemistry. And getting to hear Tony Schiavone and Jim Ross, two people I grew up on, coming together and smashing it, I thought they were brilliant. And then sort of rounded out really nicely by Excalibur, who brings in the young and the useful and the different kind of a knowledge. I mean, great. Really good. Really easy to listen. Never jarring. Tony Schiavone is so much better than I think people remember. JR's JR. So at the moment, I couldn't call it. I need to see how it's going to develop over the next few weeks. But I definitely think right now it's going in the right direction. And we'll see what Corey Graves and Michael Cole do tomorrow. I know they get a lot of stick, but let's judge them on tomorrow's season premiere. Brand new week, brand new life, and we can take it. And we can take it from there. So yeah, please go do check out Ups and Downs over on What Culture for Dynamite. First ever one. It's quite cool. I'll do a vlog this week once I get the footage about my match with David Starr, which I had yesterday. Probably one of the reasons I feel so beat up today, but my word, what an amazing professional wrestler that guy is. Otherwise, though, if you could support me on Patreon, please do. Link in the description, patreon.com/Simon316. Even $1 helps me so much. If not, just give me a like, give me a subscribe on here. That would rock. And at Simon316 on Twitter, at Simon316 on Instagram. Big Cartel, wrong way around, always. SimonMiller.BigCartel.com. That's where my wrestling merch is. You can get t-shirts, signed 8x10s, all that kind of stuff. And if you want an exclusive tee, pinsandknucklesmerch.com. Shout out to Life After Death. The Super Chat says, could we see more stables in AEW? Who would you like? We have to now. People have to come together to try and take out this new stable. So let's do it. Let's team up the Golden Elite and Cody Rhodes and Dustin Runnels. You know, let's have the Rhodes brothers and the Golden Elite coming together. Hell yeah. Let's take Luchasaurus, Marco Stunt, Orange Cassidy. I know he's with the Super Best Friends, but whatever. Jungle Boy and somebody else. Let's put them together. Well, I mean, don't go too overboard. But I'm no problem having a few stables. I loved stables back in the day. And with a renewed focus on that, I'm never going to be mad. On that note, thank you so much for always watching. Thank you so much for always supporting. Make sure you keep an eye on the channel for more videos as the week rolls on. Sorry this one's a little shorter than usual. It's just my voice is going to go. I got to protect it. And I'll talk to you when I talk to you.